The couple, the guest and her late husband, who was a sculptor and collector, discovered a hidden treasure at a 1985 antique advertising show. 5 puppets from the animated movie The Daydreamer. Back then, they paid $350 for the set, a significant sum that they likened to their mortgage payment. However, the true value of their purchase remained hidden until the appraisal. These weren't just any puppets. They were rare reproduction puppets meticulously crafted by hand in Japan by Mom Studios. These puppets likely held the starring roles in the film itself, brought to life using the stop-motion animation technique Rankin Bass Productions was famous for. Rankin Bass Productions had an innovative animagic technique that relied on handmade puppets like the ones the couple owned, imbibing them with a distinctive charm. The Daydreamer itself, though lesser known than some of Rankin Bass's productions, boasted a unique storyline based on the life of Hans Christian Andersen, and an impressive cast that include Boris Karloff and Patty Duke. Considering the puppets' rarity, their connection to a well-respected animation studio, and their potential use in the actual filming of the movie, the estimated value is...
So today at auction for the group of 5, they would achieve in the $50,000 to $80,000 range.
Oh my gosh! Hear that, Ed? My husband passed away a little while ago at a good old age, but he would love that.
The guest purchased this mahogany center table at a farm auction about 10 years ago, paying no more than $40. Despite primarily being an arts and crafts furniture enthusiast, the guest was drawn to the table's lines and overall appeal. The appraiser identified the table as an Edwardian reproduction in the George III style, dating between 1900 and 1915. The table featured neoclassical elements, intricate inlays, and delicate legs. The legs featured fine string inlays that encircled each leg entirely. Remarkably, the legs retained their full height, showing no signs of wear or shortening. Confirming the piece's English origin, the appraiser noted its excellent condition and high-quality craftsmanship. The guest, hoping it was worth over $100, was pleasantly surprised to learn that the table's estimated auction value ranged from...
At auction, it would probably be in the $800 to $1,200 range for an estimate.
That's nice to hear.
The guest brought in a glass piece that his mother purchased in the mid-1970s in Indiana. The guest's mother had passed away, and no one else wanted the piece, so the guest ended up with it. Upon closer inspection, he discovered the signature of Emile Galle on the piece. Emile Galle was a renowned glassmaker and jeweler who set the standard for French art glass, particularly cameo glass. The piece was identified as fire-polished cameo glass, a technique that involved cutting and heat polishing the glass. The piece had a beautiful green color and a nice palette. The guest had no idea of the piece's value. Due to its historical significance and exceptional craftsmanship, the appraiser estimated the piece at...
Okay, this is a nice big piece, nice palette, nice interior color. I would say probably $3,000 to $5,000 at auction.
The guest inherited a painting from her grandfather, which had been passed down through the family members. It had been stored in closets and wasn't a favorite among family members. In fact, the guest's son wanted to sell the painting after her death. The painting was titled Landing a Beauty by Philip Russell Goodwin, who was born in 1882 and died in 1935. Goodwin was a precocious artist who sold his first work at age 11 and went on to illustrate books and calendars. The painting was created around the turn of the century and depicted a dramatic moment of 2 sportsmen netting a fish. There were concerns about the painting's condition, including a possible cleaning and a tear repair. Despite these issues, the painting had a significant value and history, and it was appraised at...
I would think that in a retail gallery, it might sell for about $125,000.
Oh my God, I won't have to live with my kids for that much longer. So, yeah, a retail gallery. So where is a retail gallery?
Behold, here are a pair of baby shoes of stunning beauty, seemingly made of cloth. The guest inherited these Mohawk child's moccasins from her family. The guest's famous Canadian ancestral family received this item from an iconic figure.
And you have quite a bit of history with them, and one of the things that fascinates me is you're actually the ancestor of a fairly famous Canadian.
Joseph Brant, a very influential Mohawk Indian chief, highly respected by the British and some of the world leaders. Looking closely at the items, we can see the beautiful patterns with which gemstones are arranged just above the shoes. Experts have confirmed these shoes were made around the 1860s, which is after Brant died in 1807, questioning their authenticity. Reflecting on their lack of authenticity related to the great Mohawk chief, this historic Mohawk footwear would sell for
The value would be about $500.
Oh, well, that's more than I expected. I'm thrilled to hear that.
A guest brought a plate to be appraised, which her husband bought at an estate sale for $400. The seller claimed it belonged to Tsar Alexander III, but the guest was skeptical. The appraiser examined the plate and confirmed its authenticity as it featured the cipher of the Tsarevich Alexander. It had a mark on the back indicating it was made in 1892. The plate was produced after the death of Alexander II, and during the reign of his son, Alexander III. It was a part of the Farm Palace Banquet Service, a specific service made for the Tsars. Many items belonging to the Tsars were sold or given away after the Russian Revolution. This beautiful and ornate plate featuring fancy scrollwork was appraised at.
Now, this particular plate would have a retail value from a specialist dealer at Russian Antiques of between $2,500 and $3,000
Wow.
per plate. So you've got two, and you can just double that.
Wow. That's great news.
The guest brought a silver centerpiece she inherited. It was passed down from her great-grandmother to her grandparents, then to her parents, and finally to her. The piece weighed 15 pounds, and the guest had no idea about its history. It was made in London in 1864 in London. It had a monumental size and was an unbelievably exquisite centerpiece. It was made by Ian J. Barnard, a very fine silversmith in London during the 19th century. This exquisite and beautifully crafted centerpiece also held a great sentimental value, and it was estimated at,
in today's market, because of the size, because of the unbelievable form, the fact that it's 140 years old, it would probably sell in a retail setting somewhere in the $15,000 to $20,000 range.
Okay.
The guest inherited this tile art piece from his father, who had received it from his aunt and displayed it on the wall for many years until deciding to sell his home. A realtor offered him $50 for the piece. That increased the offer to $200, but her father declined both offers, sensing its value. The appraiser identified the piece as a beautiful Rookwood scenic vellum plaque. Rookwood, a prominent American pottery company based in Cincinnati, Ohio, started in 1880 and employed many skilled decorators, producing various items including vases, tiles, gardenwares, and plaques. The plaques were distinct because they were decorated similarly to their vases. This particular piece was decorated in the scenic vellum glaze line. The appraiser noted the original frame and the Rookwood paper label on the back, which provided the title and artist Sally Coyne, one of Rookwood's finest decorators. The plaque was dated 1916, indicated by the RP mark with a flame per date after 1886, a Roman numeral for the year, and a V for vellum. The prices on the back likely referred to the frame, $190, and the plaque, $20, when originally sold. The plaque had accumulated some grease or smoke residue over time, which could be cleaned off to restore its true colors. The appraiser estimated its auction value to be between.
This is an absolutely lovely tile. At auction, one could expect to have that reach probably in the $3,000 to $4,000 range.
Our little guest's grandmother gave her this Mexican jewelry collection before she passed away. These stunning pieces are by Mexican jeweler Matilda Poulat, famous for her pre-Columbian inspired designs.
Now, do you have a favorite piece of the group?
Actually, I think it would be that one.
That one's very nice, and it has a very nice mark.
Matilda Poulat is very popular and often copied today. These pieces are original with all the right marks. Tin alone would sell for
about $450.
Wow.
The whole collection could bring.
There's probably over $2,000, $3,000 worth of jewelry in this box.
Whoa. Okay.
The guest brought in a huge piece of German furniture. The center part of the furniture was most likely from the 17th century. Unfortunately, bigger wasn't always better, and in this case, it was definitely not. The furniture was very heavy with a lot of wood and not easy to move around. It was not an easy piece of furniture to market simply because of its size. Furniture of this size was usually purchased by bars, restaurants, and places that had enough space to accommodate it. This beautifully crafted, huge and beautiful piece of furniture was appraised at.
Conservatively, I think at auction it would probably fetch in the area of something like $10,000 to $15,000.
The guest's mother bought this map from an antique store. In 1990, while traveling in Edinburgh, the guest spotted a woman taking pages out of a book and painting them, suddenly realizing that this map was created similarly. The appraiser revealed that this map was by a man named John Speed, whose name appeared in the cartouche. John Speed was a significant early British cartographer, notable for being British when most cartographers at the time were Dutch. This was a 17th century map with the date 1610 written in the corner, suggesting the year it first came out, though this particular copy was from 1611 or 1612. The map's engraving was done by Jodocus Hondius, a Dutchman, although the map itself was British. The appraiser explained that initially, maps were made and sold without colors, but the British introduced the idea that coloring maps would enhance their marketability, which proved successful. This was one of the beautifully colored maps. The appraiser noted that colors increased the map's value and made them highly desirable, estimating this one at a significant amount of
This map would probably sell for about $2,000 to $2,200.
Really?
In the land of play, where dreams unfold, we find joy with each toy. In 1977, a child developed a love for Star Wars. He collected many toys and figures. His mother bought him an early bird set and figures, which he played with a lot. Later, he found an unopened set in a mall and bought it. In 1985, he wrote to Kenner about getting collectible coins. He wanted them without buying new figures. His collection includes rare items like a double telescoping lightsaber. The pristine condition and rarity make his collection valuable, showcasing how well-kept toys can become valuable collector's items. The collection has great visual appeal and historical significance. While examining the condition of the item, the appraiser said,
The coin set was issued after the last movie, which was done in 1983. The coin set was issued 84 through 85. But as a whole, the set at auction generally would sell somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000 as a set. Auction estimate on that easily would be $6,000 to $9,000. Wow. That's extremely rare, and most people would never even notice it. This particular set in this condition, which has never been removed, that at auction, again, being conservative, I'd estimate $10,000 to $15,000. Wow. If it was just a regular lightsaber, maybe the estimate would be in the $6,000 to $8,000 range. So that double telescoping lightsaber adds quite a bit of value to it. As a package, I think a fair insurance value could be anywhere from $25,000 to $30,000 for insurance purposes.
Exhibited here are original 20th century cartoon art collections. They are precious collections that our guest inherited from his father. These classic pieces illustrate the core essence of cartoons. While these collections are some notable pieces, such as the Joe Palooka piece and the award-winning Blondie.
Now, some people these days don't really know Blondie, but in the 30s and the 40s, he was very, very, very popular.
The most remarkable among these works of art is this one-of-a-kind Schultz piece from 1951. It is so rare, valuable, and in such great condition that alone it has an impressive auction value of
This piece alone is worth $8,000 to $10,000.
While the whole collection is worth
I would say your whole collection together is worth about $10,000 to $15,000.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not.
Oh my goodness.
A daguerreotype collector brought in a daguerreotype of Edgar Allan Poe for appraisal. Poe was born in 1809 and died in 1849. In 1839, daguerreotype was introduced to America from France and was gone in the mid-1950s, which means this picture was taken within a 10-year period before his death. Only 6 Daguerrean portraits of Edgar Allan Poe are known to exist. However, some damage is noticed on the face as it seems a finger has wiped the picture. And a Daguerrean picture is not to be touched or even blown at, which brings the price to around
Probably somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000.
Wow.
Because of who Poe was.
Yes, yes.
Purchased about 15 years ago, this brings in an artistic Art Deco design table for appraisal. Though most people think this table was designed by Paul Frankel, it was built by the Johnson Furniture Company in 1955. However, Paul Frankel was only working at Johnson Furniture at the time, so it is likely he did design it. The Johnson Furniture Company was a high-end furniture company that made tables for the rich and wealthy. This table was built when Art Deco was in vogue. It was thought to be part of the Skyscraper series during Paul Frankel's Art Deco period of the 1920s, but it is not so. The table is very heavy and well built and was probably made in Great Rapids. Moreover, this table has been redone and refinished, but it does not affect the price. At an auction, this table would be worth $5,000 to $6,000, but at retail, it would be priced at.
At retail, it'd bring probably $8,000 or $9,000. It's a fantastic table. Thanks for bringing it in.
Thank you very much. We love it no matter what.
The guest brought in a porcelain plaque they snagged for a mere $5 at a yard sale, transforming a casual browse into a moment of unexpected delight. It is revealed that the plaque to be a German-made copy of an 18th century Italian painting, a fascinating connection between artistic styles and eras. The scene depicted two boys enjoying fruit, a popular subject matter that resonated with collectors. The plaque's high quality is evident in the meticulous details and overall craftsmanship. Turning the plaque over reveals identifying marks on the back that served as the detective's clues. An impressed eagle and a surviving retailer label, both diagnostic features, place the origin of the plaque in Berlin around the turn of the 20th century. The presence of the retailer label, often lost or damaged over time, was a particular stroke of luck as it added to the plaque's provenance and value. Taking into account the plaque's pleasant subject matter, good condition, and historical connection, the estimated value of the item is,
I would expect would sell between $2,500 and $3,500.
Oh my goodness, that's great.
That's very good for a $5
Yeah.
The guest brought in a carved coconut bank with a mysterious past. The guest had known the object since childhood, but had no idea of its origins or purpose. The object is identified as a Mexican carved coconut bank, a popular folk art item from the 19th century. The bank featured classic Mexican motifs, including a depiction of the seal of Mexico used between 1823 and 1916. The presence of this seal helped date the bank to the third quarter of the 19th century. The origin of these carved coconut banks is not entirely clear, but there are some theories suggesting that they were made by sailors or prisoners. Unfortunately, these banks are not very durable and tend to be damaged or destroyed, especially by children, as retrieving the saved money is quite a challenge. Despite the fragility, the carved coconut bank held a significant value. At auction, this item would go for,
I think it would be reasonable to expect an auction estimate of $1,500 to $2,500.
All right, thank you very much.
The guest brought in two holiday items for appraisal, a devil lantern and a Santa Claus figure. The guest has been collecting holiday items for 30 years, particularly drawn to Santas and the colors and traditions of Christmas. The devil lantern was purchased at a flea market for $150 10 years ago. It is a rare molded cardboard lantern, most likely German-made from the early 1900s. The fact that the lantern retained its original horns, ears, and paper inserts for the eyes, nose, and mouth significantly increased its value. These paper inserts were particularly fragile and often burned away when the candle was lit, creating the desired spooky effect, but leading to their loss over time. The lantern also has its original base, although it's a bit worn. Considering these factors, the estimated value of the lantern is,
Still, I'd put it at least $400 to $600 as an auction estimate.
The Santa Claus figure, on the other hand, was a recent purchase of $250 from a dealer. Unfortunately, it is a reproduction, not a vintage piece. The guest scored a lucky find at a local Asian store, purchasing a large ceramic figure for a mere $30. The guest described noticing the item seemed out of place in the store and inquired about it, eventually convincing the owner to sell it for the offered price. The figurine is a picture of a shaman from the state of Nayarit in western Mexico, specifically from a place called Chinesco. Examining the piece, the overall style and shape were consistent with authentic shaman figures. However, the paint on the face, particularly around the eyes and nose, raised a red flag. Unfortunately, it is concluded that the figurine was a reproduction, not a genuine artifact. Despite this news, even as a reproduction, the piece held value due to its large size and impressive presence. The estimated worth on the decorative market is to be,
I would put a value of $300 to $500.
That's a good return for $30.
Now, do you want the bad news?
Yeah, go ahead.
The guest brought in a powder horn they received in a trade back in the 1970s, likely for some turquoise or other Native American jewelry. The piece is a modern replica, not an authentic 18th century powder horn. Several clues give away the horn's inauthenticity. First, the top section, while appearing quite old with its leather strap, has been carved down to fit onto the horn itself. Second, the bottom holder resembled a draw pull, a design inconsistent with genuine period pieces. Finally, the engraving on the horn, while very well done, depicted a peculiar combination of elements, including a map of upstate New York and a European sea creature. These details suggested the engraver had compiled imagery from various sources rather than adhering to traditional designs. Despite being a replica, the artistic merit of the powder horn is exquisite. The intricate engraving and overall aesthetic could hold value for a collector interested in such pieces. The estimated current worth is to be
it's probably worth $1,200 to $1,500 in today's marketplace to a collector who would say, wow, this is a beautiful, beautiful copy.
The guest inherited a beautiful and valuable paper filigree artwork depicting the combined coats of arms of the Jackson and Phillips families. The guest's aunt, knowing their interest in family history, passed down the piece believed to be from 1734. The piece is indeed made from paper using a technique called quilling or paper filigree. This art form involved tightly rolling thin strips of paper and arranging them to create a design. In this case, the artwork showcased the Jackson and Phillips family crests side by side, with an inscription indicating it was created by Sarah Jackson in 1734. The piece is really significant because it is American-made paper filigree. While quilling was more common in England, American examples were exceptionally rare. This rarity, combined with the historical significance of the family crest, significantly increased the value. The estimated artwork's value is to be
auction estimate should be in the range of $30,000 to $50,000.
With an insurance replacement value of
you're probably around $100,000.
The guest brought in a late 19th century Chinese sanxian, a three-stringed instrument traditionally played during tea ceremonies. Unlike many decorative, non-functional sanxians produced in the 20th century, this particular instrument was built to be played. Several details pointed to the sanxian's quality and age. The wood was a type of Chinese hardwood called hongmu, veneered with rosewood on the soundboard. The soundboard itself was clad in snakeskin, and the fingerboard was inlaid with decorative designs. The tightening rods featured lotus leaf and pot embellishments with ivory caps, another indicator of quality craftsmanship. While the sanxian showed some signs of age and wear, such as chips and humidity cracks, it remained largely intact. Considering these factors, the estimated sanxian's value
would be between $3,000 and $5,000.
With an insurance replacement value of
appropriate insurance value would probably be about $7,500.
Okay. Wow.
The guest brought in a painting by California artist Percy Gray, a gift to the wife's parents in 1938. The painting is a typical scene for Gray, featuring rolling green hills, oak trees, and California wildflowers. Several factors contributed to the painting's value. First, the artist, Percy Gray, was a well-established California painter who had received training from a prominent American Impressionist artist, William Merritt Chase. This training instilled in Gray a strong foundation in the principles of light and color, which is evident in the vibrant and well-saturated colors of the painting. Finally, the painting's excellent condition, with no major signs of wear or tear, and colors that retain their brilliance, is a significant factor in its value. Watercolors are particularly susceptible to fading and foxing over time, so a well-preserved piece like this is especially desirable. In addition to the fact that the painting remained in its original frame added to its overall presentation and value. Original frames can sometimes be works of art themselves, and their presence with a painting can contribute to its authenticity and provenance. Considering these factors, the estimated value for the painting is
it's worth on the order of $20,000 to $30,000.
Wow, that's terrific.
In 1992, the guest purchased a carved item in London, convinced it was made of tortoiseshell. Upon closer inspection, it is revealed to be amber, a material more commonly found in Russia. The carving style suggested a late 17th century origin, similar to pieces housed in renowned museums like the Dresden Museum and the Victoria and Albert Museum. While the base wasn't crafted from the same precious metal, the amber itself was high quality and held significant value. The amber market is thriving, and a piece like this could fetch.
I think a piece like this at auctions today we'd be looking at $5,000 to $7,000.
What a pleasant surprise. Well, thank you very much.
Congratulations.
The guest brought in a Spingarn Award, a prestigious honor bestowed by the NAACP to celebrate outstanding African Americans. The guest felt a deep personal connection to the award, both due to their admiration for Maya Angelou and the fact that the award's first recipient was Dr. Ernest Everett Just, the founder of their fraternity. He acquired the gold award at auction for its melt value of $1,100. The guest actually possessed two Spingarn Awards, a Gold Presentation Award and a lesser-known Replica Trophy. The Replica Trophy, which the guest's friend bought for a mere $80, could potentially fetch
about $3,000 to $5,000.
Wow, for the walk-around?
For the walk-around.
Okay.
While the guest had initially paid for its gold weight, the award's historical and cultural significance meant it could command a price tag of
in the $20,000 to $30,000 range.
The recommended insurance value for their gold award is
We'd probably want you to insure it for around $50,000 to protect yourself.
Wow.
This diamond and platinum bracelet from decades past encapsulates the essence of its era. The bracelet was showcased by a guest who inherited from her mother. It is a quintessential piece from the 1960s, featuring angular cut stones.
And do you remember what year your mother bought it in?
It had to be the mid-60s because I can't imagine her taking me there when I was in high school.
Moreover, it boasts various shapes, including marquee-cut diamonds, a canoe-shaped diamond, and a baguette diamond with brilliant cuts. Additionally, the bracelet is set in platinum, a common style for pieces of its time. Furthermore, the bracelet weighs 15 carats of diamonds and is in pristine condition. This bracelet symbolizes luxury, and with its intricate designs, it is estimated to be worth
I would probably suggest a value of at least $50,000.
Oh, okay.
Exhibited today is a vintage oil-on-canvas painting by Thomas Hill. Hill was an American artist of the 19th century. This piece was purchased by the guest's husband at a yard sale in the 1970s.
He liked it because it was a picture of the outdoors. That was one of those things you buy at a yard sale.
Depicted in the painting is a view of Vernal Falls in Yosemite National Park, featuring the majestic waterfall, rocks, and a mist trail. The painting has been very well preserved. However, this particular piece was created by Hill after he suffered a stroke, which may affect its value. At auction, we can anticipate this vibrant oil-on-canvas painting fetching a value of
I think at auction right now, this is probably worth about $6,000 to $8,000.
Holy smoke. Excellent. Thank you.
He brought in an old trunk he inherited from his father, who had received it from a close friend. The 1925 Goyard hat trunk epitomizes early 20th century luxury and craftsmanship. Known for luxury and durability, Goyard crafted this trunk with functionality and elegance. The trunk's lift-out tray and liner both bear the iconic Goyard branding on their straps. The trunk's exterior features Goyard's iconic chevron pattern canvas, often reinforced with leather for durability and style. The interior remains remarkably bright and clean. Then there's the Goyard label, complete with its distinctive serial number. The trunk's interior is lined with luxurious silk or velvet. Apart from a metal tag, the trunk showcases the iconic Goyard pattern seen on their goods. Condition greatly affects value. Noticeable issues include losses and roughness. In awe of its timeless elegance, the appraiser valued the item.
I think its retail value would be around $2,000, which would also probably be around the low end of an auction estimate.
The guest was at an estate sale when she found this poster on an old Frenchman's wall among many others and was mesmerized by their beauty. She bought a few of them. She brought this one for appraisal because she could not find any information on it except for Dunkirk on the map of France. The appraiser identified it as a French travel poster advertising travel to Dunkirk in the north of France on the Chemin de Fer du Nord, the French railway. The poster was designed by an artist named Roger Broders, who was considered one of the best illustrators of the 1920s and 1930s. The poster was not dated, but reference books confirmed it was made in 1930. Though Broders created many landscapes, his most popular pieces featured people, and this poster displayed an exquisite couple in fine clothing enjoying the harbor of Dunkirk. This was a promotional poster created by the railway company in collaboration with the Chamber of Commerce to attract visitors to the area. The appraiser further revealed that this was one of the rarest posters chosen for the cover of Rogers' poster books. The poster was original because it was a lithograph, not a photograph. Given the rarity and excellent condition of the poster, the appraiser estimated its value to be.
And that value at auction, I would estimate it between $15,000 and $20,000.
Oh my God.
The guest was cleaning the basement after her mother's death and found a bag and a pillow among her belongings, which were gifts from her father. The guest further mentioned that her grandfather had brought the pillow from Nez Perce, Idaho. The appraiser revealed that the pillow, dated 1906, was from the Niagara Falls area and was likely made by the Seneca, Iroquois, or Mohawk as a tourist item. The beading technique on the pillow was called cluster or clump beading, which gave a 3D effect, indicating it was not a Nez Perce piece at all. The appraiser identified the other item as a Cheyenne bag, beaded on both sides. Interestingly, the bag had different designs on each side, with the back side being the negative of the front side, using the lazy stitch technique. The appraiser admired the beautiful beadwork on the bag, noting the craftsmanship. The bag featured a classic box and bar design, possibly made in the 1870s or 1880s. Sewn with animal sinews and thread, this bag was likely made in Montana or Wyoming. The appraiser estimated the first piece to be.
It would probably be worth at an auction $150 to $200.
Okay.
With some cleaning needed, the appraiser estimated the bag's value to be.
If this bag here came up for auction, and that needs to be cleaned also, it's fairly dirty from dust, it would probably sell for $3,000 to $5,000.
Okay.
This beautiful quilt was inherited by the guest from her mother, passed down from her great-grandmother. The great-grandmother, a missionary in Hawaii, received it from grateful Hawaiian sisters at the end of her mission. The quilt bears her great-grandmother's name and includes symbols of Hawaiian royalty and flags of the United States and Hawaii. The initials MH stand for Mission Hawaii, and the quilt dates back to 1894.
So that would have been the Church of the Latter-day Saints mission in Hawaii.
Yeah, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Correct, in Hawaii.
Hawaiian quilts, taught to the locals by New England missionaries, are highly sought after for their bold graphic designs and cultural significance.
And Hawaiian quilts have become exceedingly desirable in the quilt collecting world and in museums because there's not a lot of them.
Despite some darkening, the quilt remains in excellent condition and can be professionally restored. With its rich symbolism and history, this quilt is valued at
between $9,000 and $10,000.
Goodness, that is amazing.
The guest inherited this painting from her father, who had a collection of 6 such works. The artist, Ralph Cahoon, was a Cape Cod native known for his whimsical, nautical-themed paintings featuring mermaids and sailors. This particular painting, an oil on masonite, dates back to the mid-20th century and retains its original Victorian frame, likely chosen by Cahoon himself.
This is basically the original frame. I'm sure Ralph put it in this frame.
The vibrant scene showcases 13 mermaids, a sailing ship with sailors, and an American flag, set against a polar backdrop. Cahoon's work gained recognition and value after his death in 1982, and his whimsical style is celebrated. Given its rich detail and Cahoon's rising prominence, this painting at auction would fetch.
Good auction estimate would be $30,000 to $50,000.
Great. Good price.
Showcased today is a stunning example of traditional Pueblo craftsmanship, a beautifully crafted Pueblo canteen. Our guest mother-in-law received this treasure as a gift from her family. This remarkable pottery is a tangible connection to the past of the Pueblo people. In response to the Pueblo revolt of the 1600s, they sought refuge and protection with the Hopi tribe.
And when they came back to repopulate their village, they brought their Hopi spouses with them.
Its stunning pottery showcases the beauty of tribal diversity and cultural exchange. Upon closer inspection, its beautiful design and finish become apparent.
It has a finish that we refer to as a slip glaze, and it also has these deer on there, which people like to attribute to the Zuni with these heart lines.
This museum-quality piece is astonishingly well preserved and would be a prized addition to any collection. With a projected auction value of...
An easy auction estimate for this piece would be $25,000 to $35,000.
This guest brought in some items that he thought belonged to the Native American chief Sitting Bull. Sitting Bull was a Hunkapapa Lakota leader during years of resistance against United States government policies. However, just like most items said to belong to Sitting Bull, there's no way to prove the same for these items, as there are no documents provided to support that he owned them.
In 20 years, I've seen probably 1,000 objects that were allegedly belonging to Sitting Bull.
Of particular interest among the items, though, is a bag in the middle. The bag is the only example of its type in the world and can be said to be a tobacco bag of Native American quality. Conservatively speaking, this bag, with its make and designs, without even being attributed to Sitting Bull, would be worth
at $25,000.
Whoa. This vase exhibited on the show was purchased by the guest at an auction. It is a model of the Portland vase, which was acquired in the 1980s by the Duchess of Portland. Interestingly, the real Portland vase was a glass vase made in the Roman Empire.
And it has a very celebrated history. It first came to light in what you might call modern history in the 17th century.
And it is exhibited today in the British Museum in London. This particular vase displayed features beautiful engravings on its sides and has two handles, resembling the Portland vase. Therefore, it is not authentic, greatly affecting its value.
It's not a Wedgwood Portland vase, it's a copy of the Portland vase, cast out of plaster of Paris, which is not a difficult thing to do.
At auction, this replica of the Portland vase would be valued at...
I'm afraid $60 is about where the value lies. So,
I kind of figured that.
All right, curious object and great story, but not a valuable item.
Highly sought after for its vibrant and high-quality color reproduction, this chromolithograph is a significant example of American art.
Here we see the name Louis Aiken. It's dated 1906.
It was a popular form of mechanical color printing from the late 19th century to the early 20th century. Created by Louis Aiken, this piece is based on a painting and utilizes the chromolithography technique, which allowed for the production of color prints mechanically. A significant advancement over the previous method of hand-coloring black and white prints with watercolors. However, given its cultural significance and the presence of the original brass plaque, it's worth...
Retail shops around the United States are selling this for about $4,500.
Wow.
Today, we present a lunar base demonstration kit acquired by the guest from her father, who served as the program manager for advanced space studies at Boeing. This kit includes several intriguing items. Among them is a spacecraft model, constructed in two halves that are assembled together. The model, crafted from a combination of wood and metal, accurately portrays various compartments. Additionally, we feature a moving laboratory model accompanied by its blueprint. A photograph of the guest's father holding these models is also on display. This kit holds significant value in America's space exploration history and is estimated to be worth...
I would say between $4,000 and $5,000 at auction.
Really?
For this particular table full of materials.
Thank you so much.
This collection showcases the diverse and macabre genius of Edward Gorey. Gorey was an American writer, Tony Award-winning costume designer, and artist.
Edward Gorey was one of the most original and creative, if not oddly disturbing, artists and authors of the 20th century.
Today's guest brought signed and numbered items, including rare dolls like Fig Bash, filled with rice. Gorey's unique signature style, crossing out his name and signing underneath, is evident. The Bah Humbug doll, paired with a limited edition signed book, is highly collectible. Gorey's tarot cards, signed and numbered, are a delightful assortment of his postcard work. The collection also includes a signed Amphigory, play poster, and a charming pop-up book. Early works like The Green Beads, signed, add historical value. The Dancing Rock, signed by Gorey's aliases Ogdred Weary and Dog-Eared Ride, is a unique piece. This entire collection from an award-winning costume designer and artist would be valued at over
$5,000 plus.
Oh my God.
There are landscape paintings, oil paintings, and figural paintings, but this painting looks like one you would see in a magazine. Interestingly enough, the painter was a magazine artist named Hugh Joseph Ward.
Originally from Philadelphia, he actually worked as a cartoonist at the Philadelphia Inquirer and then graduated to doing his own freelance work and working up in New York.
The painting is from one of the magazines Ward illustrated for, and the first feature that stands out is its distinctiveness. We can see the woman depicted here holding a gun, and the contrast in color is really distinct. As an original piece of magazine art, this painting would retail at an auction price of,
I would expect this at auction should comfortably make between $10,000 and $15,000.
Nice, nice.
We are presented with letters written to a baseball legend by a Mary Fitz, along with a baseball, which are remarkable pieces of history. The baseball legend is best known for managing the New York Yankees and was a key figure in their 1920 success. Miller Huggins. These items were acquired by the guest from Dorothy's grandson, who needed money for college. The letters signed Uncle Miller indicate a close, non-romantic friendship between Huggins and Dorothy. The 1927 World Series baseball features signatures from baseball legends, including Huggins, which is rarer.
Who is far rarer because he died in 1929. There's the Ruth, of course, that you want to see on the sweet spot.
The letter is particularly fascinating, mentioning Dorothy's four-leaf clover gift to Huggins. Huggins' leadership was pivotal, even suspending Babe Ruth for misconduct in 1925. The baseball, signed by legends of baseball including Huggins, which is quite rare, would fetch,
I would put on somewhere between $8,000 and $12,000.
While the letters, although having a personal touch, would bring,
These letters I'd put in about $6,000 to $8,000.
That's amazing.